Namaste, the God in me, honest to God and goddess in you. So what's up? All right. I feel led to talk about the Orgonite crystal jewelry that I make. I made this ring recently. Has the crystal and the Orgonite. The reason why I recently sold actually uh, Royal Light copper wrap Orgonite medallion that's filled with crystals. Shout out to Chosen. Thank you very much. Inside the Orgonite, you can see the black crystal that's tourmaline. Also inside there, I got clear quartz, rose quartz, and selenite. All right, so it's copper, and this is the back. This is the front leather necklace. Um, my meniscus was healed, which is my knee. Uh, there's a tissue between your two joints, and I injured it. It's called the meniscus. So I wasn't able to walk for a while. Now my doctor had told me if I don't recover, I would have to get a surgery. Oh, do I look like I'm walking? Huh? Yeah, I'm walking. All right. So yeah, I turned it into, there were bigger pyramids than this that I was making at the time that healed me. And I started turning them into rings, started turning them into necklaces. It's me right here on top of the world, right? North, south, east, west. Yes, I'm the true God of my existence. Okay. And so basically, I've had a person recently ask me on YouTube about when am I going to do a class on teaching how to make Orgonite. So consider this as a first class. So now what I usually do is, this is called black tourmaline. Now black tourmaline, it's it cracks easy. So if I were to wrap this with copper and I would twist it too hard, it could literally chip. This black tourmaline chips very easily, right? Now because of that, what I tend to do is I purposely chip it, I crush it, and I make it into fine particles. So if you get yourself black tourmaline from a crystal shop, you could crush it down with pliers, a hammer. You could put it inside of like a bag, whether it be a Ziploc plastic bag, and crush it down into fine crystal particles till it's like a powder. Now once it's into a powder, that's what I actually put inside of my rings, my Orgonite rings. See that? Black tourmaline. All right, along with sometimes pyrite, quartz. All right, they're all fine particles. So when you're making your Orgonite, because I see sometimes what people are doing wrong is they're putting big rocks, when I say rock, big stones like this size into the Orgonite. And not to say that you can, but the Orgonite is not going to be as effective if your crystal is that big as opposed to it being tiny. Now y'all might ask, what's the reason why it needs to be tiny? Because when it's tiny, you have more surface area, all right, per crystal. The finer the particle, the more the resin can pressurize the surface area around the crystal, thereby releasing more of an electromagnetic charge, because you also want to include magnets within your Orgonite. All right, and I do that as well when I if you look closely inside, you will see sometimes like magnetic hematite. You know what I mean? So those are one of the magnets that I've been using. All right, so basically that is one of the major components. Definitely is to have fine crystals. So there's been rumors that there's been these fake Orgonite pyramids going on out there, where these Orgonite pyramids, they all look exactly the same. There's no real difference in variation from the design. But when you have something that's handmade, Each one is going to have a unique design, right? It's not going to look like it's made in a factory, right? And each has its own character, right? And the energy behind the person who's making it has a lot to do with the programming of the Orgonite. Because when I'm making my Orgonite, sometimes what I'll do is I'll be doing Om Mani Padme Om. Now when you're doing the mantras, especially Om, you're empowering, you're infusing your crystals and you're programming your crystals. Because crystals are programmed through sound and programmed through our vibration. Because for every cause there's an effect, right? So if I'm speaking out these powerful vibrations, the primordial sound, Om, which is really about manifestation and creation. And basically, if you listen to the womb, or you listen to a beehive, you hear the word Om, whether it's the bees buzzing, or you hear in a mother's womb, Om as well, because she's creating a whole new being in her womb. So Om is the creational sound. It's the sound for creating and sound for manifesting. So now when you're using Orgonite, what's the whole purpose? Well, if you put your intentions into the Orgonite and you say, well, with this Orgonite, what I'm manifesting is protection for my family, or I'm manifesting healing for my body, or I'm manifesting wealth, or I'm manifesting abundance, or I'm manifesting making me a more powerful being, you know what I'm saying? More spiritual, more intuitive, more psychic. It's like you could program your Orgonite for whatever you want. So pretty much it's like when you're making Orgonite, it's not just enough to just be making it. It's not just enough for there to be somebody who knows, how to put this piece with that piece with that piece. No, it's the energy in the hands and the body of the person who's making it that makes that piece powerful. Okay, you get it? So it's sort of like you got imitation Nike sneakers, you got the real Nike company, then you got the fake people. Now sometimes the fake people, obviously they're gonna make it with cheaper materials, and it's gonna be less quality, less value, and it's the same concept. So understanding how to make Orgonite is very important, and understanding how to infuse it with programs, infusing the crystals and setting intentions for why the Orgonite is being made is very important as well. So these are the things that I want to touch on, and let's see about doing a quick reading with my crystal cards. All right, just did a reading earlier that really spoke to me. All these pockets. So as y'all see, I'm chilling here at the coffee shop. All right, next to this beautiful plant, and out here drinking a coffee. All right. So Spirit, what do you have to say to us today? Let me shuffle these cards. When I was young, I used to see my pops shuffle cards. Rest in peace to my father. Keith Lake, very funny, he was a party animal, and he used to always play cards with his friends at the house. So sit there and watch him do that. Like, yo, how you do that? Damn, that look hard. Like a little kid. But yeah. So Spirit, what do you have to say to us today? By the way, these are called the crystal message cards. And these cards speak to me. Earlier, I did a reading on myself, and I asked a question and about going to a particular location to conduct business, and the card said independence, and I was like, whoa. That was right on. That was what I needed to hear. So I know these cards are pretty much on spot, on target. So if you're watching this today, then most likely you need to hear this message. All right? Whenever you're watching it, today, tomorrow, next year, it don't matter. Okay? You have entered into a certain timeline in order to receive this message. And the timeline is not based upon the type of time as you think it may be, but it's based upon an eternal timeline that's like infinite. That's a whole nother story. So there you go. Orgonite relationship. Okay, so Orgonite says, as I release old emotional wounds, it opens the door for me to embrace love to the fullest. All right. So sometimes in our life, you know, we dealing with old emotional wounds from the past, from other relationships. Those other relationships could cause you to be overly emotional about certain things in your life. Like, you allow your emotions, sometimes we can allow emotions to rule over our logical thinking because of the way a person helped hurt us in the past. But when we are truly healed, you know, when those are released, because you can release old emotions by screaming, you know, just like letting it out, exercising, writing out on a journal. You could do it through just talking about it to the right person, just releasing the pain, whatever it is that have caused you injury or harm. So as I release old emotional wounds, it opens the door for me to embrace love to the fullest. So when we release the old, then we allow the new to come in. And that new could be a new relationship, a new business, a new opportunity, a new way of thinking, all right? A new health, a new physical part of yourself, because your body renews itself, the skin renews itself, the organs renew itself, the bones, everything about you, all right, can be renewed, all right? So, but we're really talking about the newness of your emotional health, your emotional well-being, the way you think and the way you basically see yourself. All right, so Orgonite. Orgonite is a pink-black love stone. The black in Orgonite releases obstacles and blockages to attract in love. So that those black lines is where the obstacles are released to release love, which is the pink, right? Because pink goes along with the heart chakra, love. Those particular stones would be, boom, pink, rose quartz, all right? So Orgonite is made up of, as at this point, as we could tell, it's two different stones, a black stone and a pink stone. It also looks like it got some spots of white in there, but anyway, black is also the color of the root chakra, so it gets to the root. A lot of times, people acting the way they act in it for face value, you think they're doing it for this reason. Meanwhile, they're doing it. There's a root cause for why people are acting the way they act. Like a person has an issue dealing with abandonment. They can easily feel abandoned. There's things that could trigger that abandonment. So when you address that abandonment issue, they're able to heal and no longer are triggered, you know, from the smallest things. So it gets to the root, right? Bringing emotional wounds and scars up to the surface to be transmuted. So these old ways of thinking, this old, you know, when it comes to relationships, there are people who, for example, right, get into an argument, fight, they say they broke up, and then they get back together all within the same day. But they do this every day. What? That's like some crazy, emotional, toxic way of doing things. So sometimes when that relationship ends, the person tries to bring that into a new relationship and think, well, this is how we're gonna behave. And it's like, nah, that's not what we're going to do here. We're going to transmute that old way of thinking, that old way of doing things, where you're breaking up every day and get back together just so you can have the makeup sex. No. That's another thing. People think, oh, that makeup sex, ooh, that's the best. Whoever said that it's the best, like, why can't you just have great sex without it being makeup sex? Anyway, that's a whole nother story. So, because a lot of times there's a reasoning behind why people do the things they do, because they were told, maybe growing up, well, this is the benefit of such and such, when there's really no benefit. It's just a foolish way of thinking. So we want to transmute and change. That's what it means. Trans is to go from one location to another, like transportation takes you, a bus takes you from one location to another. You want to now go from one location, which is the old way, to the new location, which is the new way of doing things. All right? And this is what Orgonite is about. Healing those emotional wounds and scars up to the surface. The color black is grounding, so it can stabilize ongoing relationships. And we want to have an ongoing, stable relationship. We don't want to have just jumping from this person to that person to this person to that person, because that's not a healthy way of building. Like, how can you really build a business or anything worth leaving as a legacy to your children if you're just jumping from this person to that person? That makes no sense, right? So it's like, you want to maintain healthy communication, healthy relationships with the people that you're supposed to be with long term, right? So that you could build something worth living for. So there you go. All right, it's a little chilly out here, y'all. I'm probably gonna step inside in a minute, and I appreciate y'all coming through, learning about Orgonite, and getting your crystal message. So, namaste. Peace to the gods and goddesses on planet Kai. I'm out.